Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. A very warm welcome from the studio here in The Hague on behalf of Omgevingsdienst Eimond for the kickoff conference Upcycle Your Waste. And it's very good to have only a few people here in the studio, and you're all at home, I guess, on the safe side of the screen. My name is Harm Edens and I'm your host for today. Normally I tell jokes on television, but most of my time I spend on making a better world together. And I think the urgency is growing every day. Maybe the best way to describe it is to tell you about a cartoon I saw a few months ago. You see a little man on an inflatable bed on a quiet ocean, and a huge COVID wave is coming at him. And he points at the wave and he says, "Oh my God, this COVID shit is going to really mess up our lives." But behind the wave is a bigger wave of climate change, which the man on the floating bed cannot see. And behind the climate change wave is an even bigger wave in scarcity of raw materials. Bigger one. And behind that second big wave is the third, even more dangerous wave of loss in biomass and biodiversity. So 3 dangers are coming at us, and we really have to change that. We have to upcycle our waste, which is very good, because in a new circular economy, there will be no more waste. We need all the materials, all the molecules, one could even say, to build new things and to make together that better world. Beside that, everything we throw away is polluting the planet on a devastating scale. Take plastic, for example. I interviewed the discoverer of the plastic soup, Captain Charles Moore, and he showed me what the devastation of plastic really is. For example, the nanoplastics, maybe you heard about them, these little tiny plastic particles that are practically everywhere and that are going inside our bodies to tell us that we have to obtain fat. Well, if you want to hear the whole story, I'm going to tell you afterwards, because I want to start as optimistic as possible today. I hope, which is a very good thing, you're all using your coffee ground cup we sent you. And I think that the coffee is tasting better than normal, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Well, this is my guest already talking. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. More and more things are going to be recycled. And I have actually an overcoat made out of coffee ground as well. And next month, I'm going to get the first pair of trousers that is made from plastic that came from the River IJssel, which I live very close to. Even the works of art here on the wall, you see a COVID-proof night watch and a COVID-proof Vermeer. You can actually win them. They're made out of reused materials. So if you stay tuned till the end of the show, you can actually win these 2 fantastic conversation pieces. We have a nice program lined up for you. Interesting guests, interesting talks. We have a handout of the Sustainability Award, lots of other things. So stay at home. Well, you haven't got an option, do you? And don't miss it. Let me introduce my first 2 guests. The first one is lead partner of the City of The Hague, and he's the founder and owner of circulaire zaken, in Dutch, circular businesses, I might say.
You can say it like that.
Gerco Brouwer.
Thank you.
Welcome. And let me introduce the second one as well. He's on the screen with us. He is the project manager of Delft University Technology, and he listens to the name Jan-Henk Weling. Jan-Henk.
Good morning.
Oh, you're really in there, aren't you? You're actually holding the cup.
Well, I'm thirsty.
Oh, good. This is a good excuse. Gentlemen, let me start by underlining the importance of today. Why is it so important, Gerco, that we start doing this?
Well, you introduced it yourself. Our resources get lost, get burned, especially with SMEs. Household waste is being reused as much as possible, but businesses have to take care of their own waste. A lot of value is being lost in this way, and a lot of earnings for companies is lost in this way. Mm-hmm. And we should improve that.
Yeah. Jan-Henk, are you still there? Oh, yes.
Sure.
Do you, in your impression, have the idea that companies actually feel the urgency to save all these raw materials? Because we're running out of them. The phosphates are going out, the cadmiums, everything is disappearing. So we need to keep those materials in our circle. Do they know that? In your,
I think most of these companies know that. Specifically, the larger companies know this. And what I heard in discussions with the university, with other larger companies, is that they really talk about this issue. Also, the smaller SMEs know this, but in most cases, they don't have the time and also the resources to do something about it. And I think that's one of the problems.
Can we share some of the bigger picture? Where do we want to go to? Because we're running out of materials. China is robbing the world. So it's a big wake-up call for Europe. What should we do in the end, Gerco?
Well, we should try to increase our resource efficiency. Over all the sectors, all the branches in our society should do that. Cities use increasingly more resources, and company, as one of the biggest users of resources, should be aware of that and should be more resource efficient.
And how can we tell them? Because the knowledge is there. We know it for quite a few years already, and still people use raw new materials, and it's still cheaper to do that.
That's the point, especially for businesses. It is cheaper, and they are not aware that they are throwing away value. Waste is value, is new resources. And this, we should let them know and help them to make value again of their waste.
Yeah. Jan Henk, is it a good idea if you want to start scaling up your waste to start at a small level and then upscale what you're doing? Or should you take it otherwise?
I think the word here is cooperation with other companies, specifically when you're an SME. If you want to reuse or recycle or remanufacture products or materials, then when you have a small amount, then usually it doesn't really pay off. And when you are with a bigger team, with more SMEs on, for example, the same industrial estate, then it really pays off. Also, more people, so more colleagues of your industrial estate also know more other people. The network is bigger. And knowledge is also very important in this, that you know what to do and who to call, who can pick it up.
And learn from each other's mistakes and lessons, which we're doing today as well. Yeah. So it's all in the cooperation to scale up your network, etc. We'll come to that later on as well. Is it on a psychological level important too? Because if you want to change on your own, it's scary, it's difficult, people run away from it, they look the other side. And if you do it together, changing might be fun.
Definitely. When I talk with SMEs and also the larger companies, when people see what they can do with what is called waste, then they really get motivated, because what used to look like something useless turns out to be something very interesting and an amazing resource. And we will see very exciting examples today.
Yeah, so you have to talk about it, you have to share knowledge, and you have to start feeling the importance and the beauty of changing together. In my perspective, it always really helps if you have a shared vision of the future. So for the both of you, could you give me a little example of what you see in 2030 and then the years after towards 2050? What do you see, Jan Henk?
Well, what's quite obvious now in the discussions with SMEs and also larger companies is that the word waste is fading away, so to speak. We are talking more and more about resources, and even the products that seem to be obsolete and that are leaving the companies can be easily be remanufactured and sold at a very interesting price. So I think we're going to look very differently, and maybe already 5 years towards what we call now waste.
Yeah. Which is rather interesting, Gerco, because then I remember a guy in the plastic wrapping industry who said, we made a profit of $3.5 billion last year. And then the guy I work with dragged him to the ocean front and said, and it's all out there. And it costs us much more money to get it out of the ocean again. Yeah. So it's not really profit. It's just postponing all the costs to the future.
Exactly. And to nature and environment.
Which is sort of criminal.
Exactly. And we all have to pay for it. So we extend the costs to future generations instead of be responsible for what we are causing right now.
And we could get away with that for many, many years, but I think that game is sort of over.
Yes.
It's not all about profit, it's about impact, it's about reason to be here. So
it's about creating additional value, not just value for money, but additional value.
So what do you see in 2030 till 2050?
Well, I see a more cooperative society, with companies working together, sharing resources, sharing waste as a resource, exchanging, connecting with other people who are capable of using and reusing the resources.
Good.
And perhaps even on a more local scale instead of a global scale.
How are we actually upcycling our waste? Let's watch a little video.
We all need to consider the impact of our businesses on the environment and to improve the efficiency of our operations. However, only 25% of SME waste is currently repurposed. We want to reduce your waste disposal costs and find new income streams. Your waste might be someone else's resource. Upcycle it. Get free professional advice on your waste and we'll help you transform waste flow into resources for your local community. Be part of a new collaborative movement, a major new circular economy initiative for your city. To find out more, contact us today.
And again, all about working together.
Exactly.
Which is good. I asked you both, but I didn't know that Jan Henk wouldn't be here at the table to bring circular stuff that you actually work with. You brought all kinds of things. Can you tell me a little bit what you took?
Yes, I can share some of the products. This is a notebook, and the cover is made from coffee grounds, like the coffee cups we use.
We're actually going to get a coffee ground shortage in a minute because everybody wants to have to grow mushrooms and to make coats. And
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Something else can be made of coffee grounds. There's a lot of possibilities on coffee grounds.
So
this is soap. This is soap made from peels of orange juices.
Yeah.
Also possible. And this product is something made from old uniforms that are not allowed to get on the second-hand market for military, police, and stuff like that.
It's sort of a new 60s revolution.
Yes.
To put a flower inside the barrel of a gun. So now you make nice things out of uniforms.
And big companies are using it as well, like IKEA, for instance.
Uh-huh.
This is a very nice, very small scale example of a tire from a bike, and they refurbished it into a belt.
Yeah.
For your trousers.
Fantastic.
So very nice.
Or other stuff, not necessarily only your trousers, of course, but.
And there are lots of examples that I didn't took, but there are a lot out there.
Jan Henk, did you put something on your desk that is to show me?
Sure. This is a messenger bag for a gentleman for your to stick in your reports, and it's made from safety belts from cars.
Aha. And is it a Dutch design or is it foreign? What is it?
No, it's Dutch design. It's ZWK Studios.
That's already good. So to take existing material and make something new out of it, that's not necessarily the step towards circular usage. So is that a different perspective, or how should we look at that, Gerka?
Well, it is, of course, a difficult issue. Upcycling, downcycling, recycling, there are a lot of definitions. But the point is, reuse your materials as long as possible and in different forms, different shapes. The process needed for that is to be done with renewable energy. So not with endless fossil fuels. Yeah. That should be our assignment.
And then I'm looking at Jan Henk. It's especially important for designers as well that when you start with a product, that you actually think about a second, third, endless life. Are designers already working with the concept that they really know that the first step is a very important one?
Yes, they are. Specifically, what we see this now happening in electronics. So electronics are being built more modular, like Lego blocks, and we really not always can see it when we look at a plastic box. But inside, electronics are like built modular, like Lego blocks. And therefore they can be refurbished way much easier, which actually saves larger electronics companies and also telecom companies tens of millions euros per year, now happening in the Netherlands.
Yeah, you see that this is a good development. So you actually already started to upcycle your waste. Can you name a few more examples of what you're actually doing right now and the stage you're in? Is it already totally organized, or are you only just beginning?
And the research we are conducting now for the Upcycle Your Waste program, we are now looking at. We are now interviewing the 6 different business estates in Netherlands, Belgium, France, and the United Kingdom, and we are questioning them on the barriers and drivers for to separate waste or resources for new for recycling and remanufacturing, etc. And also we look at what they have. So, and it's quite interesting. We already, in some areas, we're already on a third of the road, and in some areas, 2/3. So we're moving ahead pretty good. And despite Corona, people are quite enthusiastic about this.
Yeah, it's still on the third place, even with normal citizens. That the renewable energy into the world should stay at the third most important level in your life. So this is a good thing, despite COVID. So I heard about a machine being developed in Delft that can separate plastic when you just throw it in with your normal garbage.
Correctly.
You know?
Yeah, that is. It's already on the market. It's already actually being used also in a separation station in Rotterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's quite interesting.
It's with
actually,
colors and streams. Mm-hmm.
A computer actually can see if a plastic is polyethylene and polypropylene. You have to separate this because a mix doesn't give a very good plastic.
No.
And for the techies under you, it's all about near infrared beams. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, and it's very magical. So, and in the end, you've got all different types of plastic. So I'm looking at you started too. Where are you at the moment?
Well, we are cooperating, of course, together in the project. So we are more or less on the same level. All the different pilot areas are proceeding in more or less the same pace.
Good.
So it's all coordinated.
And there are a lot of other different partners. Let's meet a few of them.
Dear participant interested in a more circular economy and a greener future. My name is Arne Rossel and I'm working here at the Economic House of Ostend at the Upcycle Your Waste project. Our organization is located in the province of West Flanders, right in the middle of the Belgian coast.
I'm in charge of the project Upcycle Your Waste for the city of Roubaix, a city of 100,000 inhabitants in the north of France, close to the border of Belgium and also close to the city Lille. This pilot takes place on the territory of Roubaix and it concerns all the companies of the city.
Hello, my name is Martin Blackwell. I'm Head of Operations at the Business Improvement District in the city of Norwich, or BID for short. The BID is an independent, not-for-profit organisation representing and funded by the business community in the city of Norwich, which is in the east of England. Our role in the Upcycle Your Waste project is to develop the business case. We've had some experience of this in developing the business case and tendering for recycling across the city, but we now want to take this a stage further and work with our colleagues in Europe to develop the business case for upcycling.
As a partner of Upcycle Your Waste, we are responsible for the internal and external communication of the project and for our pilot region in the business district of Plassenau.
Here in Roubaix, we have decided to participate to this pilot in order to develop circular economy on the territory. The city of Roubaix has been the first in France to animate a zero waste program. It was in 2014 and it has been a big success. So now it seems logical for us to help our economic actors and to be part of the project Upcycle Your Waste.
At the end of 2020, we have started the interviews with the first group of interested companies to hear if and how they are already applying upcycling methods in their businesses, or to hear why they are withholding towards upcycling waste material. The waste scans are being analyzed by our university partners. Now we are waiting in suspense to get those results.
We have done more than 55 interviews with companies of different size from different fields, and we have found some really good things. Some companies throw away some foam, whereas some other ones needed to send the products. Some companies throw away a lot of what we call glassine, and we have found a new actor able to recycle it in the area. And also some companies need some pallets, whereas some other ones throw them away. Of course, for some waste, the one you can see behind me, we still don't have the solution, but we hope the tender will help us to find some and to include some new actors on the project.
We know that the business community will want to do the right thing, but having the business case that says this makes good sense will be vital to the pilots as we move forward.
It gives a good feeling, right, to see that the whole of Europe is working together to upcycle all our waste. Gerco, what did we see on the screen? Who were there and do you know them?
Yes, I know them very closely even, because they are our partners in the project. As we just informed you about, we are working with 6 pilot areas and 6 representatives of municipalities or business associations.
So that's rather large for a pilot.
It is rather large, but the pilot is restricted to certain areas. In The Hague, we have a specific business area. In Norwich, they choose for the city center with more
different kinds of
waste streams.
So different learnings,
shops,
and you can all exchange it.
Exactly.
Then you go faster.
Exactly.
I can imagine that every one of these pilots runs against things that don't really work from the beginning. So what are the problems they encounter?
At this moment, of course, Corona. It's difficult to get in touch with the SMEs, with the entrepreneurs. And the other thing is legal issues, because you're not always allowed to recycle waste because they are under waste legislation, and you're not specifically allowed to use it as a resource. So that is a difficulty we have to tackle.
So that should change too. We get a European politician later on the screen, so we're going to ask him whether these legislations can be changed quickly. Because
that is a challenge.
You can ask him. He will be here in a minute. Jan Henk, are you still there?
I'm still there.
Do you know about problems that have to be solved to upscale the waste quicker because we're running out of time in the world?
Yes, for companies, it is specifically for SMEs. It's a bit of a challenge to separate resources that are quite usable. So usually there's a lack of knowledge, a lack of awareness sometimes even. And also there is they think it costs them more money, which in most cases it is not, but it's a perception. And also it costs them more time, and usually when you organize this very well, it really doesn't. So, but these are perceptions that actually are barriers to separate this waste. And also it's really important is cooperation with each other, perhaps via some other organization. But with more, more.
And that's very good. The other aspect of this pilot is not so much the knowledge, but as well that everybody's working together and that we bring the story out. So after the pilot is finished or during the pilot, that we tell everybody in the world, this is happening. You can join in and grow along the way. Exactly. Maybe in that perspective, it's good to mention that in my radio show the other week, I had Jacqueline Kramer. She's a scientist and a former minister of the Netherlands. And she wrote a little booklet about Upcycling Your Waste, and the title is How Network Governance Powers the Circular Economy. And she gives great examples from the city of Amsterdam that's being circular, trying to get circular as well. She talks about mattresses and the whole project, and about organic concrete, for example. So might be good to get the book. Shall we meet a few more partners? Let's see this.
Good day, everyone. We are one of the partners of the Upcycle Your Waste project. And within our area, we work together with the Greenpeace Eimond Association. The area where we are situated is called Eimond, which is in the Netherlands. The region has a wide variety of activity and is specialized in port and steel relating processing companies.
Hello there, my name is Rob Robinson. I'm Sustainable Business Programme Manager at Kent County Council, working under the Low Carbon Kent banner. I'm very proud to be part of the Upcycle Your Waste partnership and very excited in seeing how we can help Kent businesses adapt and improve as a result of engagement with the project.
Wij vinden het een belangrijk project omdat we uiteindelijk grondstoffen zijn schaars en uiteindelijk moeten wij met deze wereld nog langer doen dan alleen maar dit jaar en onze generatie. Uiteindelijk moeten we dus zuinig zijn op alle grondstoffen, dus we moeten zorgen dat we ze gaan hergebruiken en recyclen.
So this is about being truly hands-on in reaching firms who have either individually or collectively have some common waste streams, and link those and work with others who are seeking raw materials or goods or anything that can be converted and remanufactured and made into something of value.
Our ultimate goal is to reduce waste flows in the Eimond. Last year we started conducting interviews with more than 100 companies to gain insight into barriers and drivers regarding upcycling. While interviewing, we also executed waste scans to give us insights in the waste streams within the Eimond. The results of those scans are not finished yet. However, the interviews have given us a good understanding of why companies are separating their waste.
We moeten eerst kijken dat we genoeg draagvlak zien te krijgen bij alle ondernemers. En uiteindelijk denk ik dat een ondernemer altijd gevoelig is voor opbrengsten en voor kosten. Dus ik denk dat we, als we daar een slag in kunnen slaan, dat we daar zeker een positieve wending aan kunnen geven.
Currently, we are investigating the possibility of realizing a waste collection place and have already started collecting ICT equipment, which will be upcycled. Lastly, we are making good progress on the training material.
This is about environmental, social and economic benefit really to the businesses and to the sector and to the area.
Yeah, more of the partners, and it's growing on me as well. I, of course, prepared for today, but when I actually see them talking about what they're doing, it really makes me warm inside, Gerco. And there was one guy, actually an entrepreneur.
Exactly. We wanted especially to have an entrepreneur talking and let him tell why he is joining the project.
It's a very good name too, Chef Wouben.
Yes.
I'm Chef Wouben. I upcycle my waste.
Yes. Nice Dutch
Yeah.
ring to it.
Well, it's Belgium.
No, it's Dutch.
Oh, I thought, okay.
No.
But this is good that not only the universities, not only the city councils, but everybody chipping in and working together.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe it's a good idea with Jan Henk as well to dig a bit deeper into the matter. So we have a few statements for you, 3 to be precise, and we show them to you on the screen as well. And you can use your phone. It's on your screen right now. Go to www.menti.com and use the code 5187480, and then you can actually say yes or no to the statements. And let's start with the first one, Gerco and Jan Henk. The future of collecting waste and reusing it lies in the connectivity. We actually talked about it, but how important is that?
Well, I think what you mentioned also, Jacqueline Kramer has a booklet on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing we are aiming for. Working together in cooperation, finding out the options, the possibilities, and revalue your waste, revalue the resources.
Jan Henk, what do you say?
Definitely, specifically for SMEs. I mean, larger companies above 250 FTEs, these have the resources to think about their residual materials, but SMEs do not have always the time and the resources. So therefore, it's very important to come together at an industrial estate, or to maybe set up a small organization, or to work together in an organization, because they see more than just an SME entrepreneur sees.
Yeah, and I see actually that everybody thinks the same. So everybody says, yes, this is the future, but for one person. And I'm really curious who that person is. Maybe you can send us a little mail. Maybe you press the wrong button by mistake, but I'm really curious. So that's always good.
Always
that
nice.
Not everybody agrees. Yeah. And a good thing maybe to share as well, I met a guy who's a philanthropic entrepreneur, and he said, if you want to change the fear you can get out of your head, you place it in front of your kitchen table, and then every morning you say hello to your fear, and you name your fear. You say, hello, Fred the fear. And then when people visit your home, you say, did you meet Fred? And then you talk about your fear as if it's not your fear. Yeah. And then it's out there, you share it, and then you can change the fear into, Gerco?
A new perspective.
Yes, but it's even deeper.
Okay.
The best energy between people. You change fear into
love.
You see? You change that, and it really works. So, very good. Yeah, we quite agree the future is connectivity. Let's do another statement. It's difficult for a company to find a new destination for its waste. For example, another company that can really use it.
Exactly.
How difficult is that?
Well, not much SMEs are aware of what they have in their waste bin. They don't do the effort to dive into it, and then do the effort to get out there and find somebody who is willing and able to do something with their waste.
And that you actually get an analysis of your waste. And like the mattresses, there were 168,000 mattresses get thrown away every year in the Netherlands, and they just didn't know what to do with it. And you have to get an expert in to say, what can we pluck it? Can we grind it? What can we do with it? And then finally, they got the solution. So you have to get knowledge in.
You have to get knowledge in.
Yeah.
And this project helps and brings the knowledge in.
Very good.
That's what we want.
Jan Henk, have you something to add to the statement?
I think Gerco answered it perfectly. And I think only thing I have to add is that when I talk with SMEs, they find it quite exciting and surprising that when they see what they can do with what they used to call waste. So it's quite motivating for them, and it's great fun.
Yeah. So this is very clear perspective as well. And you see that almost everybody agrees, but there are 5 people who say, no, it's not difficult at all. And maybe these are the really optimistic ones that are already upcycling their waste and they haven't got a problem.
Well,
that can happening too.
It happens.
Yeah, very good.
I brought some examples.
Yeah.
It is possible.
Yeah, it's 5 very good people, or people just don't know anything what we're talking about. But okay, those people are terribly lost for the future. Shall we do another statement? Local governments can and should do more to help companies to use their raw materials effectively.
Yes, I agree.
We talked about it earlier. We said, I'll come back to it. What should local governments do? What can they do?
Well, they have a task based on the environmental permits, but they can do more to make companies aware of the issues that are in play.
But how? There's COVID going on. There's a recession ahead. There's Brexit. There's everyday news that interferes with your business, and then the government comes, "Ooh, let's upcycle the waste." It's another problem.
It's like what you started with. You have to look behind the first COVID wave. There are bigger waves that come ahead, so you have to think a little bit ahead.
And without scaring people, just take them along and dream of a new world.
There is a lot of perspective already there. You just need to find it, and if you can get help to find it.
Do you know the film 2040?
No.
Maybe you should see it. It's about an Australian farmer who wants to see what the world in 2040 is about for his daughter who is 4 years old now. And he travels all over the world to see what actually is already there.
Yeah.
And everything is there that we need.
Yeah.
We should just practice it.
Practice it.
Yeah.
So connectivity is very important.
And local help from the governments. Jan Henk, something to add?
Yeah, again, Gijko put it very good into words. But what's really important for an entrepreneur to understand is when a government is trying to help, they're also trying to focus on turnover. If you can turn your so-called waste into the resource it actually is, then under the line, in the end of the year, you will have more profit. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. And especially when you look at the future with carbon pricing and all that things bringing in from China, etc., it's going to be much more costly. So when you start changing now, you will be a spekkoper in the future, which is a very strange word for international people. Front runner, almost. Yeah. So that's a very good point. Thank you so much for the. Oh, how was the score for the last one? Can we still see it? Yeah. Almost everybody agrees. So we know actually what we should do, where the problems lie. So now it's the only thing is let's start.
Do it.
Do it and as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
Right. When you are dealing with upcycling your waste on a local scale, it's actually a very small step towards Europe because we have Frans Timmermans and the Green Deal, which I really admire, and I hope he's going to come a long way. And we have European interest in our upcycling project. So I'm very glad that my new guest is actually finding some time to be here on the screen with us. He's from the Green Left, Green GroenLinks party in the Netherlands, and he's been in the European Parliament since 2009. Please welcome Bas Eickhout. Hello, Bas.
Good morning.
Have you been listening all along?
Not all along, but the last 10 minutes I have. So I saw some of the statements, and I now also know how to pronounce spekkoper in English. So that's good.
It's a bit van Gaal English, so the death of the gladiola.
That is very true indeed.
Yeah, you're in the European business quite a long time. Do you have the idea that there's enough awareness among European politicians that upcycling waste is important and that we're running out of raw materials?
I think it's certainly a theme that everyone talks about. So I think everyone loves it, to be very honest, which is good, but also immediately a problem, of course, because it's almost a bit like world peace. How can you be against? So I think the people, they do talk a lot about it. It's called circular economy here at the European stage. I don't think that people really realize what it brings along, what needs to be changed for that. You know, it's a lot of people, I think, are still thinking like, okay, that's we need to do better with waste. We need to recycle it. But I think one of the problems, and that was also very clearly there, is, but will there be a demand for those for that recycled waste. And I think that really brings some new challenges. And I think a lot of politicians are not aware of that element. So people talk about it, are happy about it, but now we have to put the right policy still in place.
And how aware are you yourself?
Well, that's of course every politician says I'm fully aware of it, but no. I think also
tell me.
No, what I find important also, and that's why I love to be here, is also to hear what the SMEs want from European politicians. Of course, I have some ideas about that, what I think that needs to change, and I will work on that. But I think what is very important is also, okay, come to me and tell me what really do you think are the crucial elements that need to change at the European level.
So it's very good that you're here. Apart from that, I was working with Professor Harald Sverdrup from Norway, and you just said companies don't know who's going to use their upscaled waste. But as soon as we start running out of raw materials, everybody wants to have your waste. So in the near future, that problem might be solved, I guess. So let's ask Gerco and Jan Henk, what do you want to ask a European politician now that he's here?
Well, I hear there is a lot going on in the European Parliament. You mentioned Frans Timmermans already. From my perspective, cities are growing to be more and more important in resources, using resources, but also in emitting waste in all different kinds of stages and phases. Companies are one of the bigger parts in cities using resources and emitting waste.
Yeah.
How is it possible that we can improve the resource efficiency in cities? So how can they be more aware of what goes in and out of cities and what the effect is that cities bring to the planet, let's say.
And maybe to add to that, what can Europe do to get more legislation out or more awareness to actually make them do it?
No, so maybe just to start off with, and I have to react to what you said, right, that there will be scarcity, so in the end it will go well. I think that is true in the end, but we prefer to be a bit before really we hit the wall, right? And that's always the challenge. I mean, we will hit a wall at a certain moment, but it would be good to change course before that. And I think here one of the crucial elements is pricing. And you already was mentioned carbon pricing, but basically what we would need is more resource pricing. What you see now is the big companies, they prefer still primary products because it's cheaper, it's more predictable. They have been working with that for decades, for centuries sometimes. Now what we're trying to do them is like, no, but you can also have these secondary products, but they are more expensive. It's the waste flows are a bit more unpredictable. It comes from more resources, so the logistics is more complicated. That really makes a price difference. And there you see that most of these companies prefer the primary flows still. And that you need to change. And one of the very simple ways is, of course, pricing. The biggest problem here is that at the European level, pricing is quite complicated to achieve because member states, they usually don't like it that much if Europe talks about it. So I think there is a big challenge. And I think here cities, and not just to throw the ball back, but also cities really should make this more known to national politicians. Like, this is really crucial that this is being arranged at the European level. So that's one thing. Secondly, what Europe can really do is product policies. And a very simple example, and the people in the audience know about it, but I think it's already in your design phase of products, you should make clear that recyclability, reusability is already kind of part of your design phase. Because quite often now, recyclability is quite complicated. So that already in the design phase, people are forced to think of how it should be recycled and reused later on. That, of course, are product placements, product designs, and product standards that Europe can arrange. The third part...
In what way can you actually arrange that? Is that legislation for the whole of Europe, or is it an advice, or how far does your influence go?
No, there we can really make binding legislation if there is a political will. That's always the case. But for example, there is already eco-design. And eco-design, until now, is very much focused on energy efficiency. In the Netherlands, it was very famous because of the light bulb and the vacuum cleaner. Why is Europe not dealing with that? Well, very simple, because it's making products more energy efficient. So we already are doing product design demands, but until now it was very energy focused. Of course, that can be broadened and you can make it resource focused, and ideas of the Green Deal are in that, yes.
Yeah, but Bas, if we think of the fact that we got sort of 10 years left to get the whole ship around the bend, to not full front hit the wall, we're sort of out of time to do a little campaign here and a little idea there. So it might be just the time for Europe to step in big time and say, this is what we need. You see, with COVID-19, it's a pandemic, and for the whole of Europe, we can come up with a policy. So now this crisis in the world is far more devastating than the whole COVID thing. So we need action. So do you feel that urgency inside the European Parliament to say, and now the time is over to talk about it, we do stuff? Then we really all look at you to get the thing in motion quickly.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, time is of the essence. And on your question, is there enough urgency? I think still not. As I said, everyone is talking about it, but is still considering what can we do the coming years. I think with the arrival of the new Commission and this Green Deal, I think much more urgency has been put on the agenda now. So that is very good. But now really we need to get the legislative proposals on the table. And for example, on this eco-design, on product policies, it is being promised for this year, and then indeed it really matters that the politicians put urgency into it, and that's, well, I see it a bit as my role to push that urgency very clearly.
And do you take other legislations as well, like labor has to become cheaper? For in a circular economy you need more hands to do stuff, to make it in Europe as well one big package? Then if we want to upscale, we need this, we need this, we need this, so you have to get a huge package going through.
Yeah, well, and there always is a bit the, I would say, the fate of Europe.
No excuses, just do it.
Oh, I love to. No, but the problem here, and that's the fate of Europe, is that the competence level is limited at the European level. So we can do product design, we can do product and all that, as long as it's internal market, right? But if you're talking about labor policies, that's very national. And then when you are doing it, as you just discussed, it's the regional, the local level, the city level. In an ideal world, these levels sit together, agree on the urgency, and build that package.
Yeah, exactly.
What we can do at the European, what my experience now is that the urgency is growing at the European level. So I think you can expect some product changes, some product standards that coming from the European level that really will help the local communities to better upscale. I think at the local level, and that's what you see in all these examples, there's a lot of interest and really action ongoing. The biggest problem is at the national level in between. There, I would say, is the biggest lack of urgency for now.
At this stage in time, because they will rapidly change in my perspective. But so now you're going to do a sort of a startup function from Europe, and hopefully we'll pick it up on a local scale. Gerco, you're nodding. What do you want to ask, Bas?
Well, there is one thing that we have to deal with coming from Europe. It's waste legislation, the waste framework. In my perspective, what could really help and benefit also on a national level is to redefine the definition of waste. Now, waste is something you discard if you put it out there and let it be. If it's collected by someone else, it is waste.
Yeah.
But why not make it you can only make it waste if you can show that no other options of applying it are possible. So you have to reuse it somehow, and if you're not able to, then it becomes waste.
And then we'll fine you big time.
Exactly.
Good. Bas, what about it?
No, and this is a very true point on waste, right? I mean, some of the legislation is quite old-fashioned because it's going back to the areas where it was like, okay, waste is really at the end of the stream and how to get rid of it in an environmentally friendly way. So some of the legislation already changed, but it is true, the rules when you can call something end of waste are still pretty strict. So in a way, yes, that should be more lenient. However, there is always, why is it so difficult? We still have a lot of hazardous chemicals in our waste flows. And of course, you don't want to prolong the existing of that hazardous chemicals in your recycled economy. So therefore, there is also now a chemical strategy where we really upfront need to make sure that in the new products, we are using less hazardous chemicals because then you can also easier do your recycling, and we can
Yeah.
ease up the end of waste criteria. But it needs to go in that order, because there's still, unfortunately, too much hazardous
Yeah,
waste.
so again, the design is leading in there.
In that way,
Absolutely.
product criteria are already in place.
Mhm.
So if you want to increase levels of circularity, you should decrease the allowed levels of dangerous materials
Yeah.
in new products.
Or unusable stuff inside your first
Exactly.
product. Right.
So you
Exactly,
don't need
yeah.
end of waste criteria, you need product criteria.
Good.
Exactly,
Jan-Henk,
but
are you
this is
still
the change
there?
that we need to make. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Jan-Henk has a question too.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Is it also possible that we have some kind of help for the SMEs from the European Union in order to help them with separating usable materials and products from their waste? So
And
maybe
what kind of help are you
European.
thinking about?
Sorry.
What kind of help? Is it just money or something else?
Could be funding, but also could be a European organization that actually helps SMEs and other companies on this waste, just with knowledge and with information and so like a car club, but then for waste. To get
maybe
waste
that's
on
an
the
idea,
right track.
the higher up in an organization you set the knowledge, the more likable people think it's good to use it. So they think, oh, it's up in Europe, so it's important. So is that a good idea?
It is a good idea, and it is indeed something that still needs to improve. I think where Europe can help is, of course, putting the right examples together and inspire people. There is still room for improvement. Let's put it that way. There are a lot of good ideas there, but I think we still need to improve this kind of idea sharing. Can I just do one warning there sometime? Because you know what I sometimes see at the European level, that there is really a huge difference in experience for the moment. And once I organized a meeting in Nijmegen, the east of the Netherlands. They are doing a lot on this as well.
Yeah,
but this meeting was so impressive was being done there, that my Italian and Bulgarian colleagues who came back and said, this was brilliant, but this is so new to us. This is unachievable for us. So it was too innovative almost. So we have to be careful sometimes not to showcase too much.
I think they took it back to Bulgaria, and it starts to linger in the mind, and it will pop out someday. So
I hope, but the first reaction was really, well, this is so new that's really not for us. And I thought, okay, we have been too showing.
Yeah, Bas, finally, because it's almost workshop time. Do you have any advice for all the people watching? What should they do when they want to start to upcycle their waste? What is a good tip from you?
Well, I think sincerely, I think you need to start gathering and join forces in order to really change the capitals of your country. In my assessment, really, the problem lies with the capitals. It's a very politicized setting there. They hardly know what's going on at the local level. And as soon as they go to Brussels, they come with a kind of a national capital political compromise, agenda, etc. And they forget about what locally is desired. And I think the voices sometimes don't reach that capital level enough. And we really I need to put pressure from Brussels to them, but up, down, from upstream, there needs to be pressure as well. And I think all these local communities, governments should join forces and lobby their national governments more.
Very good tip. We'll sandwich them into a better circular world. That's a good thing.
It should be a circular sandwich.
Yeah, Bas, thank you very much. And please, for me, I'm an ambassador for WWF. Kick out the Chinese out of Africa. Will you do that? Because they pollute everything.
Well, with China, we also have some challenges. Absolutely.
Yeah, I rely on you. Thank you very much, Bas. Thanks. I just said it, ladies and gentlemen, it's a workshop time. And let's watch a little video about how to get to your workshops.
When you applied to join this webinar, you picked 2 workshops you'd like to attend. If you look under this video, click on Show More, where you will find the workshop links ranging from 1 to 7, looking like this. If you click on the link of the workshop you want to follow, you'll be redirected to Microsoft Teams, where your workshop mentor will be waiting for you. Once the workshop is done after about 20 minutes, you can simply leave the Microsoft Teams meeting and join us back here at this webinar. We'll mute the video during the workshops, so you can leave the webinar open on your screen. If you hear this tune playing, it means we'll start again in 2 minutes. If anything goes wrong, or you can find your link, hit us up in the comment section and we'll help you out. Have fun, and we'll see you in a bit.
I hope you can easily find where you want to go to. Enjoy. I hope it's inspiring. And please be back after your 2 workshops and the coffee break, because there's more to come and you still can win the Vermeer and the Night Watch with mouth caps. And I think in a few years' time, this version of the Night Watch will be far more valuable than the original one. Enjoy and see you later. Bye-bye.
When you applied to join this webinar, you picked 2 workshops you'd like to attend. If you look under this video, click on Show More, where you will find the workshop links ranging from 1 to 7, looking like this. If you click on the link of the workshop you want to follow, you'll be redirected to Microsoft Teams, where your workshop mentor will be waiting for you. Once the workshop is done after about 20 minutes, you can simply leave the Microsoft Teams meeting and join us back here at this webinar. We'll mute the video during the workshops, so you can leave the webinar open on your screen. If you hear this tune playing, it means we'll start again in 2 minutes. If anything goes wrong, or you can find your link, hit us up in the comment section and we'll help you out. Have fun, and we'll see you in a bit.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope the second workshop was as awarding as the first one. And I thought it was a good idea to share some of the comments you sent us through the chat function and discuss it with Gerco and Jan Henk. Gerco, the first thing that came to us was about Roubaix City. And they are actually, since 2015, working on zero waste families. And it's growing and growing, and there are actually at the moment 600 families participating. What can you tell about it? Because it seems to be a great success.
I think it is a great success. It makes people aware of the waste problem, and at the same time they learn how much money they can save and how much resources they used and actually do not need. So it is a very interesting program which we should also apply for companies. In that way, it's very nice that Roubaix is also involved in the Upcycle Your Waste project for companies.
Yeah, they produce 5 times less waste than the average family.
Yeah.
And in what perspective can they save money while doing that?
Well, first of all, they don't have to pay for money because it isn't there. So it would earn a lot of money. And in the other way, I think they also learn people not to buy waste in advance when they buy products. So go to the market instead of the supermarket.
Yeah, this is another example. As soon as you start changing with a small thing, then it will grow. Oh, I don't need this. Oh, I'd rather have that. And then your whole outlook on the world will change.
Yes.
So this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, City of Roubaix. The other thing we heard, that, and it's a bit worrying for me, that almost no company has a plan how to upcycle their waste. Maybe that's for Jan Henk. Jan Henk, what do you think when you hear that?
I think it's in one way. I think it's quite interesting because there's so much to gain financially, but also environmentally, and it's just great fun. It really stimulates people. On the other hand, I also understand it because there's still not enough awareness amongst SMEs due to a lack of knowledge. That's also what we see in the questionnaire. So, yeah, there are of course 2 sides on this, and I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, Gerco?
Yes, I agree with Jan Henk. Normally, like in Roubaix, for instance, but in normal European cities, the people are taken care of. Their waste is being collected. The companies have to organize it themselves. So they are expected to have the knowledge, but they haven't.
No, and up to now, it didn't seem to be a problem. But all of a sudden, the world changed.
Exactly.
And now they have to change as well.
Yeah, and
so
they have to adapt to the near future when things with regards to waste and resources need to change.
Yeah, and we should tell them over and over again.
Exactly.
Until they start changing. Oh, Jan Henk is nodding, so he agrees.
Well, another thing
at the moment, Jan Henk. Are you in Delft?
Sorry?
Are you in Delft right now?
No, I'm at home in Capelle aan de IJssel.
Oh, Capelle on the IJssel. Yeah. There was a question which I think is rather interesting. Somebody was wondering, what are we going to do with all the office space and furniture material that we are left with after COVID-19, when people realize they can work at home more than they used to do? So what are we going to do, Gerco?
Well, I think a nice suggestion would be to use it as a living space, as housing, apartments, for instance.
Maybe even company apartments that you can stay there for 2 days and then you don't have to travel as much.
Exactly.
And, new ideas.
New ideas.
Yeah. And with all the furniture?
The same, I would say. Just pay for the housing, but also pay for the furniture. If you are only staying there for 2 days, for instance, then you don't need your own furniture. You can use the furniture that is already there.
Put your mattress on a desk and then just sleep.
Like a company hotel, let's say.
Yeah. So ideas. Jan Henk, other ideas?
Well, just on furniture, a lot of furniture is being discarded even when it's worn out. For example, office chairs. And they're being bought up at this moment by the usual office chair companies for refurbishment. There's a good business there. And I must admit, at TU Delft, I saw 3 office chairs in a bin with a lot of waste on top of that, so they could be reused. And it's at 50 euros per office chair they offer. It's 150 euros in the bin being thrown away. So, yeah,
Did you plug in to get them out?
They were unfortunately there was some other stuff on top of that. I think tar, and then it's completely unusable.
Yeah.
But if they put it aside, that was 150 euros in the pocket.
Yeah, and you see it with the manufacturers of office new material, that they give a lifelong tracking of the furniture, and they know where it is and the rest value in the materials, and things really change in that perspective, which is very good too.
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much. And we're going towards the end of the show. Not yet, but so far I'm going to say thank you, Jan Henk. Thank you, Gerco, for being here today. We've got the question left, ladies and gentlemen. Who is going to win these 2 fantastic upcycled works of art? Let's start with the Night Watch. We've got a very nice Wheel of Fortune for you. All the names are in there, and we're going to let the wheel spin and see who's going home with the fantastic capped Night Watch. Go ahead. Is there a little music involved? Ooh, click. And we see the name on the screen if we're lucky. Jan Henk Wely. You must be kidding me. It's really honest, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, well, I don't think that's too bad, because he really put some effort into it today. So he's going to... Jan Henk, you got ugly walls behind you. So now there's a Night Watch coming towards you, okay? You
Great.
Man. Okay, we got a second one. The girl with the earring from Vermeer. And let's see who's going to win this one. Probably Gerco. And it is going to be Rani van Langerdum. So we know where you live. Don't move. I think this is the best one, actually. So it's coming towards you. Ladies and gentlemen, it was really an honor for me to be here today. And I was thinking about circularity and upscaling your waste. And I thought, what did I do in my life? I read the book Drawdown. I don't know whether you know it or not. It's a very, very inspiring book. It's 100 certified business cases of circularity in the world, divided in 8 categories. So do yourself a favor, get the book, read it, get really inspired of what other people in different parts of the world do, learn from them, their lessons and their mistakes, and get it going. Because in this book, there's a lot of knowledge. So enjoy. It's time, I think, to hand out the Eijmans Sustainability Award. We got that all covered on film, so they don't need me for that. So for me, this is time to say goodbye. Remember, at least once a week, that sustainable new world we can only make together. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Wij zijn Jan en Dave en vandaag mogen wij tijdens de startconferentie van Upcycle Your Waste de Eijmond Duurzaam Award uitreiken.
Ja, en Omgevingsdienst Eijmond werkt voor 15 gemeenten en de provincie aan milieu en duurzaamheid.
Bedrijven in de Eijmond die duurzaam ondernemen en grote motivatie hebben om te blijven verduurzamen, komen sinds 2013 in aanmerking voor de Eijmond Duurzaam Award.
Dit jaar is het thema pionieren. Bedrijven die echt een extra stap zetten om te innoveren en te verduurzamen.
Met trots presenteren wij u de 3 genomineerden. B-Tech Solutions in IJmuiden, Crown van Gelder in Velzen-Noord en Patina Dakdenkers in Beverwijk.
Laten we eerst eens even kijken waarom deze bedrijven zelf vinden dat ze de prijs verdienen. We beginnen bij B-Tech Solutions.
Ik ben Willem Jonkman, ben eigenaar van B-Tech Solutions. B-Tech Solutions is een bedrijf wat elektronica produceert. Van een kaderprintplaat tot complete systemen. In het dagelijks leven kom je ons product op verschillende plekken tegen. Langs wegen, in tunnels. Wij zijn een bedrijf wat op alle fronten probeert te kijken hoe we energie kunnen besparen. Warmte was hier voorheen een hele grote kostenpost. Het meest trotse ben ik dat ik hier in een pand zit, 35 jaar oud ongeveer. Wat eigenlijk heel moeilijk te verwarmen is. Nou, je voelt het zelf. Het is hier altijd 21 graden en dat doe ik met een warmtepomp die ik zelf gedesigned heb. Wat je ziet is dat er al een paar bedrijven hier geweest zijn die gewoon op mijn elektriciteitsrekening wilden zien. Die ook willen zien dat wij steeds meer zijn gaan draaien, maar ook dat mijn rekening navenant niet meesteeg en zelfs ging dalen. Terwijl we verleden jaar 40% meer omzet hadden gedraaid. We zijn een bedrijf wat op alle fronten kijkt hoe we met ons afval gaan. Dus ook de printen die wij jaren geleden geproduceerd hebben en die op een gegeven moment vervangen worden, die terugkomen, worden hier uit elkaar gehaald. Bij een gespecialiseerd bedrijf wordt er 90% gerecycled. Karton wordt apart verzameld, plastic wordt apart verzameld. En op die manier proberen we eigenlijk met zo min mogelijk algemeen afval te eindigen. Ik vind dat wij als ondernemer niet meteen moeten gaan denken als ik iets ga doen. Wat is de besparing? Hoeveel geld hou ik er aan over? Nee, wat doe ik voor mijn kleinkinderen? Wat doe ik voor mijn achterkleinkinderen? Dat moet je eerste motivatie zijn. En dan krijg je vanzelf plezier erin. Je krijgt er plezier in als je elektriciteitsrekening omlaag gaat. Terwijl je omzet omhoog gaat. Dat zijn eigenlijk dingen die niet samen kunnen gaan. Ik hoop binnen 2,5 jaar volledig van het net af te zijn. Compleet zelfvoorzienend. Ah, dat vind ik super. Dat is toch heel bijzonder. Dus het kan echt. En het is zo ontzettend leuk.
Ja, tof om te horen op hoeveel verschillende vlakken jullie goed bezig zijn. We gaan door met de volgende en dat is Crown van Gelder.
Ik ben Miklas Dronkers, algemeen directeur bij Crown van Gelder. We vieren dit jaar 125 jaar papier maken in Velzen. Daarmee zijn we het oudste bedrijf aan het Noordzeekanaal in Velzen. We maken 500.000 rollen papier per jaar. Grote rollen van 100 kilo tot 3000 kilo. En die gaan naar verwerkers en die maken er allerlei mooie producten van. Papieren draagtassen bijvoorbeeld, maar ook de wikkel van de cornetto of het etiketje bij de groenteafdeling bij de supermarkt. Eigenlijk zijn we als papierfabriek al tientallen jaren bezig met duurzaamheid, met milieu. Papier maken en dan met name het drogen van papier kost veel energie. Daarvoor hebben we een hoog efficiënte warmtekrachtcentrale. Daarbij leveren we ook nog 30% van de elektriciteit terug in het openbare net. We willen in 2022 een elektrodeboiler hier hebben staan die op basis van wind op zee stoom maakt. En tenslotte, we hebben een hele goede samenwerking met Eimond Bereikbaar. We doen mee met het fietsplan om zoveel mogelijk mensen op de fiets te krijgen en uit de auto. En dat zijn ruim 100 medewerkers, oftewel 40% van onze medewerkers die daaraan meedoet. Nieuw is ons product op basis van suikerbietenvezel. Dat hebben we bedacht, uitgedacht samen met Kozen. Kozen die heeft een reststroom met vezels van de suikerbiet. En het blijkt dat als je die vezel gebruikt, dat je zo'n 80% lagere milieu-impact hebt. En dat spreekt onze klanten enorm aan. Onze klanten zijn op zoek naar een betere milieuprestatie en wij bieden voor hen de oplossing. En dat betekent dat we in elke keuken in Nederland zullen staan.
Leuk dat jullie net even een stapje verder denken en ook bezig zijn met hoe het personeel duurzaam naar werk komt. Laten we naar de derde genomineerde gaan kijken. Patina Dakdenkers.
Ik ben Max Wolters en ik werk bij Patina Dakdenkers. Naast het isoleren brengen wij zonnepanelen aan, warmtesystemen, groendaken. Groendaken, dat geeft heel veel voordelen. Een van de voordelen is temperatuurverlaging in een gebouw. Het andere grote voordeel is water, het gebruikt water. Het houdt water vast. Het zorgt dus dat het water niet in het riool komt, waardoor verouderde rioolstelsels minder gauw vervangen hoeven te worden. Je moet natuurlijk wel ervoor zorgen dat wat je verkoopt, dat je dat ook zelf natuurlijk gaat uitstralen. We hebben genoeg zonnepanelen om onze elektriciteit te voorzien. We hebben genoeg elektrische laadpalen om elektrische auto's te laten rijden. En we hebben een warmtepomp. Als wij aan isoleren denken, aan energie, aan groen, dan willen wij natuurlijk wel een voorbeeld geven van hoe je dat goed aan gaat pakken. Je kan natuurlijk niet met rokende diesels aankomen en zeggen van ja, je moet zonnepanelen plaatsen, want je bent anders niet goed bezig. Om ervoor te zorgen dat de wereld zeg maar, ook bewaard blijft voor onze kinderen, moeten we goed nadenken over hoe wij onze producten in gaan zetten. Bitumen, dat is een product wat nu nog van roof to road gaat. Hè. Dat wordt verwerkt in wegen. Als je het gaat verwerken in het asfalt, dan verlaag je het product. En dan willen we dan het liefst dat dat van een dak naar een dak gaat. Dat er weer een nieuwe dakbaan van gemaakt wordt. En daar zijn we met afvalverwerkers daarmee bezig om te kijken of dat voor elkaar gemaakt kan worden. We kunnen allemaal leuke praatjes houden, maar we moeten het gewoon gaan doen. En daar ben ik gewoon trots op. Dat we mogen scheiden, dat we mogen zonnepanelen plaatsen, dat we mogen steden mogen plaatsen, dat we mogen isoleren. Dat we mogen na gaan denken over nog meer mogelijkheden om nog meer te gaan verduurzamen.
Mooi om te horen dat jullie zelfs met de afvalverwerkers bezig zijn om een oplossing te vinden. Goed bezig.
En dat waren de 3 genomineerden. Voor de uitreiking schakelen we over naar de raadzaal van de gemeente Beverwijk.
Ik ben Haidar Erol, wethouder hier in Beverwijk, met name over de duurzaamheidsvraagstuk over gaat. Maar tegelijkertijd, ik ben de bestuurvoorzitter van Omgevingsdienst Eimond. Duurzaamheid betekent dat je investeert betere wereld voor morgen.
Oké, en voor de mensen die de Eimond-regio niet kennen, wat maakt het zo speciaal?
Eimond is een bijzondere regio. Dynamisch, creatief, maar ondernemend. Als je ze daar met elkaar in contact brengt, een gesprek laten gaan en een voorbeeldje laten zien hoe je dat kan doen, ja, dat is toch mooi?
Dat is het zeker. En die ontvangen dan zo'n mooie award die daar op tafel staat?
Hier liggen ze er allemaal. Hè. Dit is een bijzondere product die zijn het ook door lokale kunstenaressen is ontwikkeld. Daarmee laten we zien, deze genomineerde bedrijven, hoeveel hebben ze de afgelopen jaren geïnvesteerd hebben, welke resultaten hebben geboekt. En daar zijn eigenlijk pioniers in de regio. We hebben genoeg gepraat, laten we dat maar de winnaar mooi verrassen.
Laten we dat gaan doen. Hoogste tijd om de winnaar van de Eimond Duurzaam Award 2021 bekend te maken. De welverdiende eerste prijs gaat naar...
Goedemorgen meneer Jonkman. Ik mag u die award overhandigen als winnaar van Duurzaamheid Award Eimond. Alsjeblieft.
Super.
Gefeliciteerd.
Willem, gefeliciteerd. B-Tech Solutions wint de Eimond Duurzaam Award 2021. En krijgt hij een mooi plekje op kantoor?
Midden in de zaak komt hij te staan op een statief, zodat iedereen er iedere dag aan herinnerd wordt.
En heb je misschien nog een mooie blik op de toekomst?
Ik zou het heel erg gaaf vinden als bedrijven meer contact gaan zoeken met me en tot we daar meer mee in gesprek gaan komen. Ik sta er open voor, ik vind het leuk, ik vind het gaaf. En iedere keer als we een bedrijf hebben en we kunnen daar wat te doen, dan is dat alweer een stap.
Een mooie winnaar. Maar als we het over verduurzaming hebben, zijn er natuurlijk geen verliezers. Dus laten we ook de andere 2 genomineerden nog even bellen om ze te bedanken voor hun geweldige inzet.
Hey Wiklaas, goedemiddag.
Errol, goedemiddag. Goed jou te zien.
Als jury moet je keuzes maken, maar dat neemt niet weg dat jullie worden gewaardeerd door middel van deze award.
Ik ben blij met de waardering voor ons unieke product.
Goedemiddag. Je zit op een bijzondere plaats hier.
Volledig elektrisch, ja. Vol elektrisch.
Gezien jullie ambitie, ik had ook niet anders verwacht. Kijk eens, die krijgen jullie binnenkort overhandigd. En wij zijn zeker trots op jullie inzet.
En ik hoop dat wij een inspiratie zijn voor andere aannemers en bedrijven om ons te overtreffen. Dat hoop ik. Want dan gaan we naar een schone aarde toe.
Volgend jaar wordt de prijs weer uitgereikt. Denk jij dat je kans maakt? Meld je aan via onderstaande link en wie weet staat dan de Eimond Duurzaam Award 2022 wel bij jou op kantoor.